I still remember that night. The sky outside was dark, heavy clouds blocking the moonlight, and the wind made a soft howling sound that felt almost like whispers. I had just finished a long day at work, tired and distracted. When I realized that the old security camera we had installed in the living room was working again, it had stopped recording a few months ago after a small malfunction. And in the rush of life, I had completely forgotten to tell my son Liam that it was back online. I knew he didn't like being watched, and sometimes he would get angry if he thought I was spying on him. But this time I didn't warn him. I sat down on the couch, soft cushions creaking under my weight, and I looked at the screen. The small red light blinked, showing that the camera was active. I felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness, like something I was not supposed to see was about to unfold. Liam was upstairs in his room, and I could hear the faint sound of music coming through the thin wooden floors. It was a song he had been listening to all week, one of those slow, emotional tunes that made me think about how quickly he was growing up. I told myself I was just checking if the camera worked, but deep down, I felt a pang of guilt for not telling him. As I pressed the remote to zoom in on his room, I noticed something that made my stomach twist. The door to his closet was slightly open. That was unusual because Liam always kept it closed. I blinked and leaned closer to the screen, trying to convince myself it was nothing, just a trick of the dim light. But then I saw it again, a shadow moving inside the closet. My heart skipped a beat. I froze, my hand hovering over the remote. I told myself to breathe, to calm down, but the fear was rising, knotting my stomach, making my hands tremble. Something wasn't right. I could hear the faint ticking of the clock on the wall, each tick louder than the last, echoing in the quiet house. The wind rattled the window panes, and I felt like the house itself was holding its breath. I leaned in closer to the screen, trying to make sense of the shadow, and then I saw Liam peek out from behind the closet door. His face was pale, his eyes wide, and he was holding something in his hands. My heart raced, and I whispered his name softly, almost afraid to make a sound. He didn't respond. Instead, he carefully put whatever he was holding back into the closet. And then slowly, he closed the door. I felt a chill run down my spine. Something about the way he moved was not normal. There was a hesitancy, a fear in his eyes that I had never seen before. I wanted to rush upstairs to check on him, but at the same time, I couldn't look away from the screen. My curiosity had trapped me, and a part of me was terrified of what I might see next. I reminded myself that I had to be calm to not let panic take over. But then, as I watched, Liam sat on his bed and pulled something else from under the pillow. I couldn't make out what it was at first, and my mind raced with possibilities. Was it a gift, a secret note, or something dangerous? The room was dimly lit by a small lamp on his desk, casting long shadows across the walls. I could see his fingers trembling as he held the object, and he seemed to be staring at it for a long time, lost in thought. My chest tightened. I didn't want to scare him, but I also didn't want to look away. Then, suddenly, the lamp flickered and went out, plunging his room into darkness. The music stopped abruptly, leaving only the sound of the wind and the soft creaks of the old wooden floor. I felt my stomach drop. What was happening in his room? I wanted to run upstairs to call his name, but my legs felt frozen. I couldn't move. And then I saw a taw movement at the edge of the camera's view. A shadow that didn't belong to Liam. It was small, quick, and it disappeared just as fast as it appeared. My pulse hammered in my ears. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. I whispered to myself, "It's just my imagination. It has to be." But I knew, deep down, that it wasn't. Something was in that room with him, something that shouldn't be there. My mind raced with questions. Was it an intruder? Was it some kind of animal? Or was it something else entirely? I reached for my phone to call him, but I hesitated. What if I was wrong? What if I overreacted and scared him? I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself, telling myself I needed to be careful. I pressed the zoom button on the camera again, focusing on the bed where Liam sat. That's when I saw him look directly at the camera, and for a split second, our eyes met. He seemed almost aware. My breath caught in my throat. He was looking at me, or maybe at the camera itself, if he knew I was watching. Then he whispered something. I couldn't hear it clearly at first, but it sounded like a name. My name. My stomach dropped. He whispered it again, and this time I was sure. He was saying my name. My heart raced. How did he know I was watching? And what was he holding so tightly in his hands? I leaned closer, straining to see, and then, just as suddenly as it had started, he placed the object on his desk and got up. He moved toward the closet, opened it, and disappeared inside. My heart stopped. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Minutes felt like hours. The wind outside grew stronger, rattling the windows, and the house seemed eerily silent, except for the occasional creak. Then I saw the shadow again, this time moving more boldly across the room. I froze. I wanted to scream, to run upstairs, but my body wouldn't respond. I could only watch, paralyzed with fear, as the figure seemed to approach Liam, and then the camera flickered and went dark. The red light turned off, leaving me staring at a blank screen. I felt my chest tighten, my hands trembling. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call for help, but I didn't even know who to call. My mind raced with panic, and for the first time in my life, I truly felt helpless. Something terrifying was happening in my son's room, and I had no idea how to stop it. I sat there, frozen, staring at the blank screen, my heart hammering in my chest. And then I heard a faint sound, a whisper from upstairs. It was Liam's voice, soft and shaky, saying something I couldn't understand. But it was enough to make me realize one thing. Whatever was happening in his room, it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I still remember that night. The silence after the camera went dark was heavy, almost unbearable. I could hear my own breathing, loud and uneven in the quiet house. My hands were still trembling, and my chest felt tight, like something heavy was pressing down on it. I wanted to rush upstairs to check on Liam, but fear held me in place. What if I ran in blindly and made things worse? What if whatever had been in his room was still there, watching me? My mind raced, but I knew I had to do something. I picked up my phone slowly, my fingers shaking as I dialed Liam's number. I hoped he would pick up, that he would tell me everything was okay, that this was just a silly mistake. But the call went straight to voicemail. I left a message, my voice unsteady. Liam, it's Dad. I just want to make sure you're okay. Please pick up. I hung up, my heart still racing. The silence in the house felt heavier than before. The wind outside rattled the windows, and I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Every sound seemed magnified, making me more tense. I slowly stood up from the couch, trying to steady myself. My legs felt like lead, but I forced myself to walk toward the stairs. Each step creaked under my weight, echoing through the empty house. As I reached the top, I paused, listening. The faint whisper of Liam's voice had stopped. The house felt empty, almost too quiet. My stomach twisted with dread. I peeked into the hallway, looking toward his room. The door was slightly ajar, the small gap like a dark eye staring at me. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The room was dark, only the faint moonlight from the window cutting through the gloom. Liam's bed was empty. I called his name softly. Liam. There was no answer. My pulse quickened. I looked around, scanning the room. The closet door was closed now, but I remembered the shadow I had seen earlier. My eyes darted toward it, my heart pounding. I slowly reached for the handle, my hand shaking as I opened it. The closet was empty. I blinked, confused. My mind struggled to understand. Was I imagining things? Had I been seeing shadows that weren't there? But then I noticed something on the floor, a small folded piece of paper. I picked it up, my fingers trembling, and opened it carefully. It was a note written in Liam's handwriting. Don't come looking for me. I need to fix it before it's too late. My heart skipped a beat. Fix what? Too late for what? My mind raced with questions. Liam never wrote notes like this. He was never this secretive. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. I wanted to call him again, to demand he tell me where he was, but his words in the note stopped me. Something serious was happening, and I had no idea what it was. I put the note down and looked around the room again. Everything seemed normal now. His bed was neatly made. The small lamp on the desk was off, and the room smelled faintly of his shampoo. But the unease in my chest didn't go away. I knew that something had changed. Something in Liam's life, something I didn't know about. And maybe something dangerous. I decided to check the living room camera again, hoping it had come back online. I hurried down the stairs, my feet making soft thuds on the wooden steps. The living room was quiet, the only sound coming from the clock ticking on the wall. I pressed the power button on the camera monitor, and to my relief, it flickered back to life. But what I saw made my blood run cold. The screen showed Liam walking down the hallway, but not like he normally would. He was moving carefully, almost like he was sneaking, glancing over his shoulder as if someone or something was following him. My stomach twisted. Why was he sneaking around the house in the middle of the night? And what was he looking for? I leaned closer, straining to see, my hand covering my mouth. He stopped at the bottom of the stairs leading to the basement. My breath caught. He was heading there. I froze. The basement was a place we never went to at night. It was dark, cold, and filled with old boxes and forgotten furniture. Liam didn't like it there, and neither did I. Something about the basement always gave me chills. And now he was heading straight into it. My mind screamed at me to stop him, to run down there and bring him back, but I couldn't move. I watched as he opened the basement door slowly, the old hinges creaking loudly in the silent house. The camera angle didn't give me a clear view of the basement steps, but I could see Liam disappear into the darkness. I felt a wave of panic wash over me. I had to follow him. I had to know what he was doing. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen counter, a beam of light cutting through the darkness as I descended the stairs behind him. The air grew colder as I moved down, the smell of dust and old wood filling my nose. Each step creaked under my weight, echoing ominously through the basement. I reached the bottom and shone the light around. The room was filled with boxes, old furniture, and forgotten memories. But Liam was nowhere to be seen. I called his name again. Liam, where are you? My voice sounded small in the large, dark room. I felt a chill run down my spine. Then I heard a faint sound, a soft scratching coming from the far corner of the basement. I froze, shining the flashlight toward the sound. There, in the shadows, I saw him. Liam was crouched on the floor, his hands on something I couldn't see clearly. He was whispering something, repeating it over and over, his face pale and tense. My chest tightened. Something about the way he moved, the urgency in his voice, made my stomach knot. I stepped closer, my flashlight trembling in my hands. Liam, what are you doing? I whispered. He looked up at me, his eyes wide, and for a moment I saw a flash of fear and desperation. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could say anything, a loud thud echoed from the stairs. My heart jumped into my throat. Someone or something was coming down. Liam froze, and I could see the panic in his eyes. And then the basement light flickered on by itself, revealing something I wasn't ready to see. I still remember that night. The basement light flickering on by itself sent a cold wave through my body. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting into shapes I couldn't recognize. My heart was pounding so hard. I was sure Liam could hear it too. I felt a chill crawling up my spine, and I gripped the flashlight tighter, trying to keep my hands from shaking. Liam stayed crouched on the floor, frozen, his hands hovering over something I couldn't see. His eyes were wide, full of fear and urgency, and for a moment I thought he might bolt. The sound from the stairs grew louder. Each step was deliberate, heavy, and slow. Whoever or whatever was coming down the stairs didn't rush. But the weight behind each step made the basement feel even colder, darker, and more dangerous. I whispered Liam's name again, my voice barely above a trembling breath. Liam, it's me. It's Dad. What are you doing down here? He didn't answer. His hands finally moved, revealing what he had been holding. A small, old wooden box. The kind you might find at a yard sale, covered in scratches and dust. Liam's fingers shook as he opened it, and inside I could see papers and a small key. My stomach twisted. I didn't know what the box meant, but something about it felt wrong. The steps on the stairs stopped. A shadow fell over the top of the basement stairs, stretching across the floor in a way that made me feel like the room itself was closing in. I swallowed hard, trying not to make a sound, and I looked at Liam. He was pale, his lips moving as he whispered something again. I strained to hear him. It sounded like an incantation or maybe a prayer. My chest tightened. I didn't understand what he was doing. But I knew he was trying to protect himself for me. Then, without warning, the shadow at the stairs moved. A figure appeared, tall and dark, stepping slowly into the basement. I couldn't see its face. It was hidden by the darkness. The air grew colder, and I felt it press against my skin like ice. I wanted to scream, to run toward Liam, to grab him and escape, but my legs wouldn't move. Fear had rooted me to the spot. The figure stopped at the bottom of the stairs, just a few feet from us. Liam froze, holding the wooden box like it was the only thing keeping him safe. I could see his knuckles were white, gripping the edges tightly. The figure didn't speak. It didn't move its hands. It just stood there, silent and menacing. The basement felt smaller, like the walls were closing in on us. My throat went dry, and I could hear only my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Liam's voice broke the silence. He whispered sharply, almost under his breath, "You can't touch it. You can't touch me." The figure didn't respond. It just tilted its head slightly, as if observing him. A shiver ran down my spine. I realized then that, whatever this was, it wasn't human, or at least, it wasn't something Liam or I could reason with. I took a cautious step forward. "Liam, what is this? Who is that?" My voice was shaking. I wanted answers, but I knew better than to demand them in this situation. Liam looked at me, his eyes wide with fear and urgency. "Dad, I shouldn't have shown you. It's too dangerous. You don't understand." Before I could say anything, the figure moved. Slowly, deliberately, it reached one long dark hand toward Liam. I felt my stomach drop. Liam yelled, a sharp, terrified sound, and I finally found the courage to move. I ran toward him, my flashlight beam shaking wildly, but just as I reached out, the figure vanished. 1 second it was there, the next dash gone. Liam stumbled backward, the wooden box clutched to his chest. His face was pale, almost ghostly in the dim light. "Dad, it's coming. It won't stop. I don't know how, but it's here, and it knows about the box." His voice trembled, and I could see the panic in his eyes. I wanted to calm him, to hold him, to tell him it would be okay, but I couldn't. I had no idea how to stop what was happening. I shone the flashlight around the basement, searching for any sign of the figure. The corners of the room were empty. The stairs, the walls, the piles of boxes, all normal, silent, lifeless. But I could feel it. Something was still here, watching, waiting. My skin crawled, and my chest felt tight. Liam opened the wooden box again, pulling out a folded piece of paper. He whispered, This is the only way. I have to fix it before it's too late. You have to trust me, Dad." I wanted to argue, to tell him he didn't have to do it alone, but the fear in his voice stopped me. He was serious, desperate, and I realized that if I interfered, I might make everything worse. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the corner of the basement. A stack of old boxes fell over, sending dust into the air. I coughed, blinking, trying to see through the cloud. The boxes were empty, except for one. On the floor, illuminated by the flickering light, was another shadow. This one moved faster, sliding across the basement floor toward us. Liam froze again, clutching the box tightly. I felt my heart hammering in my chest. I wanted to grab him, to scream, to do something, anything, but I was powerless. The shadow moved closer, and I could see a faint outline of a face. It wasn't human. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its presence filled the room with a pressure I could feel in my bones. Liam whispered frantically, "It knows. It knows what's inside the box. We have to hide it. We have to." And then, just as the shadow reached the edge of the flashlight beam, it vanished again. My hand shook so badly, I dropped the flashlight. The beam went out, plunging us into total darkness. I felt a hand Liam's grip mine tightly. His fingers were cold but firm. "Dad, we have to move, now." I nodded, my voice stuck in my throat. The basement was no longer just a room. It was a trap, and we were both caught inside it. I still remember that night. The darkness in the basement was complete after the flashlight fell. My eyes strained, trying to make out anything, but there was nothing, just black, thick and heavy, like it could swallow me whole. I felt Liam's hand gripping mine, tight and desperate. His fingers were cold, trembling, and I could feel his fear radiating through him like electricity. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, and whispered, "Liam, stay close. We'll get through this." He didn't answer. He was focused, staring toward the corner where the shadow had vanished. The room was silent except for our shallow breathing and the soft, uneven creak of the floor beneath us. I could feel the air in the basement growing colder, like someone had turned on an invisible freezer. My teeth chattered and a shiver ran through me. Something was in the room with us. I knew it. I could feel it pressing against my chest, my back, my entire body. Liam took a deep breath, pulling the wooden box closer to his chest. "Dad, we have to hide it," he whispered, his voice shaking. "They can't find it. It won't stop if they do." I didn't understand what he meant, but I didn't question it. I only knew that whatever was happening, it was dangerous, deadly. Maybe. My heart pounded as he led me across the basement, moving silently, as if the shadows themselves could hear every step we took. I tried to follow him, but my mind kept replaying the shadow's movements, the way it had slid across the floor, the way it had looked at us with glowing eyes. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being hunted. Every sound, the wind outside, rattling the window, the soft groan of the wooden floor, the distant hum of the house made my stomach knot tighter. Liam reached a pile of old furniture in the far corner of the basement. He crouched down, sliding under a rickety table and dragging me with him. I felt my knees scrape against the cold concrete floor, my hands shaking. We were pressed close together, the wooden box between us. I tried to steady my breathing, but it was impossible. My heart was racing, my chest tight. My mind was filled with questions I couldn't answer. For a long moment, nothing happened. The basement was still, eerily quiet. I could hear only Liam's shallow breaths and my own heartbeat hammering in my ears. Then, without warning, a soft whisper echoed through the room. It was faint, almost inaudible, but unmistakable. It said my name. "Dad?" I froze. The voice wasn't coming from Liam, it was coming from the darkness, the empty corners of the basement. My stomach dropped. The shadow was back. I could feel it, even though I couldn't see it. The air grew heavier, colder, pressing down on us. I tried to move to reach out to Liam, but fear rooted me in place. Liam whispered urgently, "Don't let it see you. Stay still. It can't find us if we don't move." I nodded, my body trembling, as I tried to make myself as small as possible under the table. I watched him, my heart aching with worry. He looked so young, so scared, and yet there was a determination in his eyes that I had never seen before. He was protecting me, even though he was terrified. Then I heard its soft footsteps on the concrete floor, moving slowly toward our hiding spot. I held my breath, feeling like the air had been sucked from my lungs. Liam pressed the wooden box against his chest even tighter. The shadow's presence was overwhelming. I could sense it circling us, testing, searching, waiting for the slightest movement. Suddenly, the box began to glow faintly, a soft golden light emanating from within. Liam's eyes widened, and I gasped. The light seemed to push back the darkness around us, creating a small bubble of safety under the table. The shadow recoiled, and I could hear a low, almost growling sound echoing in the basement. My heart raced. What was in the box? And why did it scare the shadow? Liam whispered quickly, almost frantically, "It's working. The box, it can keep it away. For now, But we have to get it out of here. We have to hide it somewhere safe. My mind reeled. I wanted to ask him what he meant, what was happening, but I didn't dare. The glowing light in the box was all that kept the shadow at bay. I nodded silently, trying to keep calm, trying to be strong for him. Even though I was terrified, the shadow moved again, retreating slowly but still circling the room. The basement air felt heavier with every passing second. Liam whispered, "When I say go, we run. Don't hesitate. Don't look back." I nodded again, swallowing my fear. My hands were sweaty, my heart hammering, but I trusted him. He had to know what he was doing. For what felt like an eternity, we waited under the table, listening to the low, menacing movements of the shadow. Then Liam's voice broke the silence. "Now, go." I leaped up, grabbing his hand, and we ran across the basement. The shadow reacted instantly, moving toward us with incredible speed. But the glow from the box seemed to push it back, keeping it at a distance. My legs felt like lead, my lungs burned, but I ran as fast as I could, dragging Liam with me. We reached the stairs, and I felt a flicker of hope as we climbed toward the safety of the main floor, just as we reached the top step. The basement door slammed shut behind us with a deafening bang. I jumped, my heart nearly stopping. Liam and I froze, listening. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. I thought we were safe, but then I heard a low, guttural growl from below. The shadow hadn't left. It was waiting, watching, and I knew with a sinking feeling in my chest that it wasn't done with us yet. I still remember that night, after barely escaping the basement. The house felt different, like the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. Liam and I stood at the top of the stairs, panting, the wooden box glowing faintly in his hands. Its light flickered softly, casting shadows that danced across the hallway walls. I could still feel the presence of the shadow below, lurking, waiting for a chance to strike. My stomach was twisted with fear, my chest tight. "But I knew we couldn't stay there," Liam whispered urgently. "We have to get out of the house. It can't follow us outside. Not yet. But if we stay, it'll find a way." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. My hands shook as I reached for the doorknob. I had never been more scared in my life. Every step I took toward the front door felt like walking through thick fog. I kept looking over my shoulder, half expecting the shadow to appear at any moment. We moved quietly through the hallway, careful not to make a sound. The floorboards creaked under our weight, each sound like a gunshot in the silent house. The living room was empty, the furniture casting long, strange shadows in the dim moonlight. I could hear the wind outside rattling the windows, and it made the whole place feel even colder, even more menacing. Liam clutched the box tightly, his knuckles white. I could see the fear in his eyes, but also determination. He knew something I didn't, and somehow he believed this box could save us. We reached the front door. I slowly turned the knob, careful not to make a noise. The door creaked open, and a gust of cold night air hit us, making me shiver. Outside, the world felt calm, normal, the street quiet. The trees swaying gently in the wind, but I knew the danger hadn't left us. The shadow couldn't come outside easily, but I could feel it still pressing on me, its presence heavy in my chest. We stepped onto the porch, the wooden boards cold beneath our feet. Liam led the way down the steps, his small frame moving quickly despite the fear in his eyes. I followed, my heart pounding, the box glowing faintly between us. Every rustle in the bushes, every sound of leaves brushing together made me jump. I kept telling myself it was just the wind, but I knew better. Something had been hunting us, and it wouldn't stop until it got what it wanted. We made it to the driveway and started walking down the street, careful to stay in the shadows. The night was quiet, almost too quiet, and my mind raced with questions. What was in that box? Why did the shadow want it so badly? And why had Liam seemed to know what to do while I had been frozen with fear? I wanted to ask him to demand answers, but I could see he needed focus. The box was all that mattered right now. As we walked, a strange feeling came over Mia, sense that we weren't alone. I kept glancing over my shoulder and I thought I saw a dark shape moving among the trees, keeping its distance but following us. My heart jumped and I quickened my pace. Liam noticed and whispered, "It's tracking us. We have to lose it before it finds a way closer." I nodded, swallowing my fear. The streetlights ahead gave some comfort, but the shadow stayed hidden, just out of sight, always near. We turned down a side alley, narrow and dark, with trash bins lining the walls. The glow from the box illuminated our path, a small circle of light in the blackness. My legs ached, my lungs burned, but I ran, driven by fear and adrenaline. Liam kept whispering, "Almost there. Almost safe." I wanted to believe him, but my gut told me we weren't safe yet. The shadow was clever, patient, and relentless. Suddenly, the air grew colder. A strange sound reached my ears, soft but distinct, a low, whispering voice calling Liam's name. My stomach dropped. The shadow had found a way to reach us. I turned to see a dark figure emerging at the far end of the alley. It moved slowly, deliberately, its glowing eyes locked on the box. My breath caught in my throat. I felt frozen with fear, but Liam gripped my hand and whispered, "Keep going. Don't stop." We ran faster, turning another corner. My chest ached, my legs screamed, but I couldn't let the shadow catch us. The voice followed us, echoing in the alley, whispering, taunting, making my blood run cold. Liam clutched the box tightly, its glow growing brighter, almost as if it knew we needed protection. The shadow steps grew louder behind us, faster, relentless. Then, just as we thought we might escape, the ground beneath us shifted. I stumbled, nearly falling, and the box slipped from Liam's hands. It hit the pavement with a soft thud, the glow pulsing violently. I lunged for it, picking it up just as the shadow appeared at the alley's entrance. Its form was taller now, more menacing, and its eyes burned with hunger. I felt my chest tighten. There was no way we could outrun it this time. Liam whispered urgently, "Dad, the key? We have to use the key now. It's the only way." My hands shook as he pressed the small key into a hidden slot inside the box. The glow from the box exploded, filling the alley with golden light. The shadow shrieked, recoiling from the brilliance, and for a moment I thought we had a chance. But I knew, deep down, that this was only temporary. The shadow would return, and then, as we caught our breath, a new sound reached us, a low, familiar voice calling from behind the shadow. A voice I never expected to hear. I still remember that night. The glow from the box filled the alley with a golden light, pushing back the darkness, but the shadow didn't disappear completely. It hovered at the edge of the light, twisting and shivering like smoke in the wind. I could feel its anger, its hunger pressing against me. And I knew it was only a matter of time before it found another way to reach us. Liam held the box tightly, his hands shaking. But there was a determination in his eyes I had never seen before. Then I heard the voice again. It was soft, familiar, and impossible, Liam. It whispered, and my stomach dropped. The voice didn't belong to anyone alive, or, at least, anyone I recognized. It came from just beyond the shadow, carried on the wind that swept through the alley. My hair stood on end, and I felt a chill run down my spine. "Dad, do you hear that?" Liam whispered, clutching my arm. I nodded, unable to speak. The voice called again, this time louder, more urgent. "You shouldn't have taken it. You don't understand?" I felt a cold shiver pass over me. Whoever or whatever was speaking, it knew about the box. It knew what Liam had done. It knew everything. My mind raced. How could this voice know so much? The shadow writhed at the edge of the alley, moving closer. Its eyes glowed faintly, following the light from the box. I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to run, to escape, but I knew the shadow would follow. Liam whispered again, "The box. It's not just any box. It has to be protected, or it will bring more danger." I looked at him, my heart hammering. More danger. "What do you mean?" He shook his head, panic flashing in his eyes. "I don't know how to explain. We have to find a safe place fast." We started moving again, the box glowing in Liam's hands. Every step we took made the shadow shiver back, but I could feel it testing the light, circling us, waiting for a mistake. The voice followed us, echoing in the alley. It whispered secrets, warnings, and something else. Promises of pain if the box fell into the wrong hands. I could barely understand the words, but the meaning was clear. We were in danger. Far beyond anything I had imagined. Liam led me to a narrow side street, darker than the main road. The glow from the box seemed to pulse faster, reacting to the shadow's presence. I felt a strange warmth from it, as if it knew we needed protection, as if it was alive in some way. Liam whispered urgently, "We have to hide it. Somewhere it can't be found. For a while. But it won't be easy. The shadow. It follows." I nodded, trying to keep calm. My legs ached from running, my chest burned, but I forced myself to move forward. We ducked behind a parked car, the glow from the box reflecting off the metal, casting eerie patterns on the walls. The shadow appeared at the end of the street, its form more solid than before, its eyes burning with fury. It let out a low, guttural sound, almost like a growl. I felt the hair on my arms stand on end. Liam's voice was barely a whisper. "Dad, you have to trust me. This box, it chooses its protector. And right now, it chose me." I looked at him, confused and afraid. "Choose you. What does that mean? How can a box choose someone?" He shook his head, his face pale. "I don't know how to explain, but it knows. And if it falls into the wrong hands, everyone, will be in danger." The shadow moved closer, testing the light again. I could see its edges flickering like smoke, but its eyes never left us. I felt a surge of fear. I wanted to fight it, to scream, but Liam shook his head. "No, not yet. We can't fight it directly. We have to move it to the right place. The only safe place." I didn't ask where. I didn't dare. I just followed him, holding onto his hand, the glowing box clutched tightly. The street ahead was dark and empty, but I could sense danger in every shadow. Every step was a test, every breath a risk. We had to keep moving, but I didn't know how long we could keep the shadow at bay. Suddenly, from the darkness, a figure appeared. It wasn't the shadow. This one was human, tall and cloaked in black. Its face was hidden, but I could feel its eyes on us, piercing through the night. Liam froze, and I felt my stomach twist with fear. "Dad, it's watching us. It knows where the box is, and it wants it too." Before I could react, the figure stepped forward, raising a hand slowly. A cold wind swept through the street, blowing out the glow from the box for a split second. I gasped as the shadow let out a screech, recoiling from the sudden darkness. Liam whispered urgently, "We have to move now." We ran, clutching the box, our breaths ragged, our hearts hammering. The street seemed endless, twisting and turning. The human figure following us silently, while the shadow lurked at the edge of the darkness. I could feel the tension building, the fear growing, and I knew we were running out of time. Then, as we rounded a corner, the human figure disappeared, just like that vanished. But the shadow remained, hovering at the edge of the street, waiting. Liam stopped suddenly, pulling me behind a dumpster. "Dad, this is it. We have to hide the box now. Somewhere no one can find it." My hands shook, my heart pounding. "Where? Where can we hide it?" Liam's eyes met mine, wide and desperate. "There's only one place. But it's dangerous if we fail. Everything will be lost." I still remember that night. My legs burned from running, my lungs ached, and my hands shook from gripping Liam's and the glowing box. We had turned down countless streets, each one darker and emptier than the last, trying to shake the shadow and the mysterious figure that seemed to be following us. But no matter how far we ran, I could feel danger closing in. The weight of fear pressed down on me, heavy and relentless. Liam stopped suddenly at the edge of an old, abandoned park. The swings creaked gently in the wind, and the slides and benches were shrouded in darkness. The moon peeked through clouds, casting a faint silver light over the cracked pavement. "This is it," Liam whispered, his voice barely audible. "This is where we hide it." My stomach twisted. "Liam, Are you sure? This place looks abandoned. Dangerous. He nodded, his jaw tight, eyes serious. It's dangerous, yes? But it's the only place no one will think to look. No one, except this shadow. I looked around. The park was silent except for the wind rustling through the trees. I could see the faint glow from the box lighting Liam's face. He held it as if it were his lifeline because, in a way, it was. Okay, I whispered. Let's do it. But we have to be careful. Liam nodded. Follow my lead. We can't let it see where we put it. We moved toward the center of the park, keeping to the shadows. I felt the hair on my arms stand on end as we passed under the broken swings. The shadow hadn't appeared yet, but I could feel it in the air, like a predator lurking just beyond sight. Every creak of the swing, every rustle of leaves, made my heart pound harder. I kept glancing at Liam. He looked small and scared in the vast darkness. But his hands never wavered. Finally, we reached a large old oak tree in the middle of the park. Its roots were thick and twisted, creating a small hollow near the ground. Liam knelt down, pressing the glowing box into the hollow. He whispered softly, almost like a prayer. It has to stay here. It has to be hidden. Safe. I watched, holding my breath. The glow from the box pulsed gently, like it was alive, responding to his touch. Suddenly, the shadow appeared. It emerged from the darkness, sliding along the ground like smoke. Its glowing eyes locked onto the box. I froze, my chest tightening, fear rooting me to the spot. Liam's voice was sharp now, commanding, "Stay back. You cannot have it." The shadow hissed, twisting and turning as if enraged. I could feel its power pressing down on us. It's trying to pull the box from the hollow. I wanted to help, to grab the box, but Liam held me back. No, Don T, touch it. Only I can control it here. His voice was desperate but firm. The shadow lunged closer, faster than I could move. I felt the wind from its movement brush past my face. The glowing box flared brightly, and the shadow recoiled, letting out a shrill, inhuman scream. I could feel the vibrations in my chest, the cold creeping over my skin. Then, from behind the shadow, I heard the soft, familiar voice again. Liam, you can't hide it. You know this. I turned slightly, my stomach dropping. The human figure from before had appeared again, standing silently at the edge of the park. Its face was still hidden, but I could sense its eyes watching every move. It didn't make a sound, but the presence was enough to make my knees weak. Liam whispered urgently, "We have to finish this now. Put it in the hollow and seal it." I watched, heart in my throat, as he pressed the box deep into the roots of the tree. The glow faded slightly, but the energy in the air still crackled. The shadow writhed and hissed, its glowing eyes fixed on the box, but it couldn't reach it. Liam pressed something else's small talisman he had taken from the box into the roots. And the shadow screeched, swirling violently before retreating into the darkness. For a moment, everything was quiet. The wind stopped, the trees stilled, and the night felt calm. I exhaled slowly, my body trembling from adrenaline and relief. Liam looked at me, exhausted but determined. It's hidden. For now, but it won't stay quiet forever. You have to trust me. One day, someone will come looking, and the box will choose again. I nodded, still trying to catch my breath. The weight of the night pressed down on me, and I realized just how close we had come to losing everything. But there was no time to celebrate. The shadow had retreated, but I could feel it lingering, waiting for another chance. And the human figure. It had disappeared just as silently as it had appeared. Leaving more questions than answers, Liam whispered, "We need to get home before it notices us. We can't be seen. Not now. If it senses us carrying the box anywhere else, it will follow." We moved cautiously, sticking to the shadows, our steps quiet. The park felt endless, the night stretching around us like a blanket of danger. Every rustle of leaves, every distant sound, made me jump, but I followed Liam, trusting him completely. And just as we reached the edge of the park, I felt a chill that ran through me, sharper than any fear before. The shadow wasn't gone. I could feel it in the trees, in the wind, and even in the dark corners of the street ahead. Liam noticed it too. He grabbed my arm, whispering urgently, "Dad, it knows where the box is hidden. It will come for it." "And for us?" "Soon," I nodded, swallowing hard. My chest ached, my mind raced, but I knew one thing for sure. This night wasn't over. The shadow was still out there, the human figure still watching, and the box. The box held secrets far greater than I could imagine. I still remember that night. Even though we had left the park behind and returned home, the fear didn't leave me. The shadows outside my window seemed darker, longer, as if the night itself was alive and watching. Liam clutched the wooden box, now safely hidden in the hollow of the oak tree. But I could feel the tension radiating off him like heat. I knew the box wasn't just an object, it was alive in a way I couldn't understand. And it had chosen him. We slipped inside the house quietly, careful not to alert anyone or anything. The living room was dark, quiet except for the ticking of the clock. I sank onto the couch, my hands shaking, and tried to catch my breath. Liam sat beside me, still clutching the box's small talisman, staring at it as though it held all the answers. His face was pale, eyes wide, but there was a strange determination there. A fire I had never seen before. "Dad, I think it knows we hid it," he whispered, breaking the silence. His voice trembled, but there was no hesitation. "The shadow. It can sense it. It won't stop until it finds it. Or until we're gone." My chest tightened. "But we hid it. It's safe, isn't it?" He shook his head slowly. "Not completely. It's protected. For now. But it's still connected. It's waiting. And the human. That person, I don't know if they're helping it. Or helping us. But they're involved." I swallowed hard, my stomach twisting. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to do something. Anything. But fear had me frozen. "What do we do, Liam? How do we stop it?" He looked at me, eyes filled with both fear and a strange confidence. "We wait. We watch. And we prepare. One day soon, we'll have to face it directly. The box will guide us. But until then, we can't make a mistake." The wind outside howled, rattling the windows, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I couldn't shake the sense that the shadow was out there, watching, waiting. Every sound, the creak of the floorboards, the hum of the fridge, the whisper of the wind made my heart jump. I realized that no matter what we did, the shadow had power over this night. Over us, and it wouldn't rest. Suddenly, a soft tap echoed from the window. I froze. Liam's eyes widened. "It's here," he whispered, standing quickly. I could barely see in the dark, but I felt it too, a presence, cold and menacing, pressing against the house. I wanted to run, to hide, but Liam grabbed my hand. "Don't move. It's testing us. It wants to know if we're afraid." The tap came again, louder this time. I could hear it as though someone or something was wrapping their long, cold fingers against the glass. My stomach twisted. I wanted to call for help, but what could I say? Who would believe us? And more importantly, who could protect us? Liam whispered urgently, "Dad, the talisman. Keep it close. It can't stop it completely, but it can hold it off for a while." I nodded, clutching it in my hand. The glow was faint but steady, a small shield against the growing darkness. The wind blew harder, rattling the windows and making the shadows in the room twist unnaturally. I could feel the presence moving, testing the walls, listening to our every breath. Then a sudden crash came from the front door. My heart leaped into my throat. Liam's grip on my arm tightened. "It's here. It's trying to get in." The shadow's power pressed against the house like a living force. I could feel it, see it in the way the room grew colder, darker, heavier. My hands shook violently. And I realized that nothing in the house could truly protect us. The talisman glowed brighter in my hand, and I could feel it pushing back, creating a bubble of warmth and light around us. Liam whispered, "It won't last long. We have to be ready." My mind raced. Ready for what? I didn't know. I just knew that we were trapped in a nightmare that wouldn't end until the shadow got what it wanted, or We found a way to fight back. And then the human figure appeared again. This time it was inside the room, standing silently by the door. Its face remained hidden in shadow, but I could feel its eyes on us, cold and calculating. Liam's voice was tight with tension. "Dad, we have to listen to it. It knows things. Maybe more than we do." The shadow pressed against the walls, testing, stretching, threatening. The room grew colder, and the talisman's glow pulsed violently. I could hear a low, hissing voice, almost inside my head. "Give it to me. Give it to me now." My breath caught. The presence of the shadow and the human figure combined made the air feel suffocating. Liam stepped forward, holding the box's talisman high. "No, you won't take it. Not yet." The room shook, the lights flickered, and the shadows twisted violently. I felt myself thrown back against the couch, the cold pressing into my bones. The human figure moved closer, silent, almost gliding across the floor while the shadow writhed, coiling like a snake ready to strike. And just as the tension reached its peak, the talisman's light exploded in a blinding flash, filling the room with warmth and golden light. I still remember that night. The blinding flash from the talisman faded slowly, leaving the room bathed in a warm golden glow. For a brief moment, everything felt still. The shadow retreated slightly, hissing and writhing at the edges of the light. And the human figure froze, its hidden eyes studying us carefully. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, my hands trembling uncontrollably, and my legs weak from fear. Liam's face was pale, but his eyes burned with determination. He clutched the talisman tightly, as if it were the only thing keeping us alive, Dad. "Listen," Liam whispered urgently, his voice tight. "We can't let it take the box. Not now. If it does everything we fought for, we'll be gone. We have to act." My stomach twisted. "Act? How, Liam? What can we do? It's too powerful." He shook his head, his jaw set. "We don't have a choice. The box. It chooses who can fight it, tonight. It chose us." The shadow surged forward suddenly, lashing out like a living storm. The human figure stepped aside, almost like it was letting the shadow strike first. I froze, my mind screaming to move, to do something, but my body refused. The talisman glowed brighter in Liam's hands, pushing back against the dark tendrils of the shadow. The warmth from it made the air feel breathable again. But I could feel the tension growing, the danger pressing closer. Liam moved first. He raised the talisman above his head, and the golden light expanded, forming a protective barrier around us. The shadow hissed, recoiling violently, and the human figure took a step back, seemingly impressed or maybe cautious. "Now, Dad," Liam shouted. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the box and held it high, feeling its energy surge through me. The warmth of it spread through my hands, up my arms, and into my chest. It was alive, pulsing, and I realized for the first time that it was guiding me, lending me its strength. The shadow shrieked, a sound that rattled the bones in my chest. Its glowing eyes burned like coals, but it couldn't reach us. Liam shouted instructions quickly. "Focus. Use the light. Don't let it touch the box. Together, we can force it back." I nodded, trying to concentrate, trying to channel the strange energy flowing from the box. I felt something inside me shift, a strength I didn't know I had. The golden light from the box expanded outward. Pushing the shadow further back, the human figure moved closer slowly, its presence tense and deliberate. I could feel it studying us, measuring our power. Liam whispered, "It knows we're close. Be ready. We can't let it trick us." I didn't know what he meant, but I didn't have time to ask. The shadow surged again, more violently this time, lashing with tendrils of darkness that almost reached us. The box pulsed, and I felt it push back, creating a barrier of warmth and light around us. Suddenly, the human figure spoke. Its voice was calm, deep, and strangely commanding. "The box. It is not meant to be kept hidden. It must be used, or it will destroy all who possess it." I froze. "Used? How? What do you mean?" Liam's eyes widened. "It's right, Dad. We can't just hide it forever. That's why it chose us tonight. We have to confront it. The shadow. And the truth behind the box. I felt my stomach drop. Confront it. How could we? We were just two people against a force that seemed almost impossible. The shadow hissed again, surging closer to the light, and I felt its power pressing on my mind, making my head spin. I wanted to give up, to drop the box and run, but I could feel Liam's determination bolstering me. We couldn't fail. Not now. Liam took a deep breath. Dad, we have to go to the place where it was made. The source. Only there can we stop it. Permanently. I swallowed hard, fear twisting my stomach. The source. Are you serious? That place. It's dangerous. We could die. He shook his head firmly. We might. But if we don't, everything, will keep happening. The shadow, the others. It will never end. The room trembled as the shadow surged one last time, lashing against the golden barrier. I could hear the hissing grow louder, almost deafening. The human figure stepped forward, raising a hand, and the shadow recoiled, letting out a final shriek. Liam grabbed my hand tightly. Now, Dad, we have to leave. It's time. We go together and we finish this. Once and for all. I nodded, gripping the box and the talisman, my body tense and ready. The shadow's presence lingered, dark and menacing. But for the first time, I felt a spark of hope. Liam and I could do this. We had to. There was no other choice. And as we stepped out into the night, leaving the house behind, I realized the journey was far from over. The shadow would not give up easily. The human figure's intentions remained unclear, and the box. The box held secrets deeper than I could imagine. But we were ready. Somehow we had to face the source, the truth, and the danger that had haunted us from the very beginning. I still remember that night. The journey to the source of the box's power felt endless. Every step we took, every shadow we passed, seemed to whisper warnings, threats, and promises of pain. The streets were empty, the wind howled like a living thing, and the night stretched around us like a blanket of danger. Liam held the box and the talisman tightly, and I held his other hand, feeling the strange warmth and pulsing energy that seemed to guide us forward. At last, we reached an old abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The air was thick with the scent of damp wood, rust, and something metallic, something ancient. Liam whispered, "This is it. The source, the place where it all began." I swallowed hard, my chest tight with fear and anticipation. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" He looked at me, his eyes fierce and determined. "We don't have a choice, Dad. Tonight, we face it. All of it." The warehouse door creaked as we pushed it open. Inside, shadows stretched across the walls, long and twisting. The floor was covered in dust, broken crates, and scattered remnants of what had once been machinery. At the far end, a faint glow pulsed, golden, warm, familiar. It was the box, resonating with the source, calling us forward. The shadow emerged from the darkness, taller and more menacing than ever, its glowing eyes fixed on the box. I could feel its anger, its hunger, pressing on me like a physical weight. The human figure appeared again, standing silently to the side. Its presence was commanding. But I could sense its power. Liam whispered, "It's watching, learning. But this time, we control it. We have the choice." I nodded, gripping the talisman tightly, feeling its warmth spread through my body. "Then let's end this," I said, my voice shaking but steady. Together, Liam and I stepped forward. The shadow surged, lashing out with tendrils of darkness, but the talisman's glow flared brilliantly, pushing it back. The box pulsed in Liam's hands, stronger than ever, as if it knew the time had come. I felt the energy of the box and the talisman merge, filling me with courage and focus. "We can do this," Liam whispered. "We have to channel it together. Focus on the light, Dad." The shadow shrieked, twisting violently, trying to strike us. But the warmth of the box and the talisman created a protective barrier. I could see its form flickering, weakened by the combined energy. Liam raised the box high, and I lifted the talisman alongside him. The golden light expanded, filling the warehouse, illuminating every shadow. Banishing the darkness that had haunted us for so long, the human figure stepped forward, extending a hand toward the shadow. "It is done," the voice said calmly. The shadow let out a final, ear-piercing shriek, then dissolved into nothingness, vanishing into the golden light. The tension in the air lifted, replaced by a calm, warm energy. The warehouse no longer felt threatening. Instead, it was peaceful, almost alive. Bathed in the soft glow of the box, Liam lowered the box, breathing heavily, and I collapsed to my knees. Exhausted but relieved. "We did it," I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. "It's over." He nodded, his face pale but smiling faintly. "For now. The box is safe. The shadow is gone. And the human? They were guiding us all along, helping us understand the power we were protecting." I looked at him, overwhelmed by everything that had happened, the fear, the danger, the unknown. "I still can't believe we survived this," I said. Liam placed a hand on my shoulder. "We did, together. And now we have to make sure the box stays safe and that no one else suffers because of it." The golden glow faded slowly, leaving the warehouse calm and empty. The shadows were gone, the danger ended, and for the first time I felt a sense of peace. Liam smiled faintly. "We've learned a lot tonight. About courage, about trust, and about the choices we make when faced with fear." I nodded, my heart full, and I realized how much I had changed in just a few hours as we walked out of the warehouse. I felt the night air, crisp and calm. The world felt normal again, but I knew the memory of that night would stay with me forever. The box had chosen its protectors, the shadow had been defeated, and we had survived against impossible odds. But most importantly, Liam and I had faced our fears together, and that made all the difference. I still remember that night. The fear, the shadows, the darkness, and the light. And I want you, my audience, to remember this too. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's what you do when fear is all around you. Sometimes the most ordinary people are capable of extraordinary things when they trust themselves and the ones they love. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for following along. And remember, sometimes the greatest dangers are hidden in the most unexpected places. And the greatest strength comes from the heart.